exciting episode of Step by Step Pokemon. Today I'm going to be talking about something that has been fairly captivating for the Pokemon community over the past few months, and that is the Tapu Bulu controversy. Maybe I'm playing it up a little bit, but I think that's a good name for it. So some of you watching this might know exactly what I'm talking about right away, and you'll be excited for the video. Others may not be very familiar with the controversy, so I'm going to go into it and explain my understanding and my take on the best way to play Tapu Bulu, and we'll play a game to kind of see how it works. So the first thing that I've noticed in the layer of the Tapu Bulu controversy is the mindset of non-Tapu Bulu players arguing against the mindset of Tapu Bulu players. You see this frequently on Burbank if you're in the group on Facebook. A lot of non-Tapu Bulu players argue with Tapu Bulu players about the best way to play it. You play too many Skyla, you don't play enough Sycamore. The issue with the mindset of the Tapu Bulu player is really that the Tapu Bulu as a deck is a mindset. You have to have a mindset change that says, I no longer will think about Pokemon and deck efficiency from the perspective of how quickly can I burn through my deck using my supporters, how quickly can I thin everything down to get to 15, 20 cards left after turn 3 or something like that. So only all my good things are there. If you play an expanded, you know what I mean, where you're battle compressoring away all your cards, or even if you played the last few formats, you know what I'm talking about with the mindset of consistency and efficiency equals a rapid burn through the deck. You have to kind of get away from that mindset if you're going to be an effective Tapu Bulu player. An effective Tapu Bulu player says, my goal is to get a Vikavolt in play and get a Tapu Bulu in play. From there, the deck takes knockouts almost every single turn. So your goals are 1, to set up a Vikavolt, and 2, be able to recover a Tapu Bulu or access a couple of niche cards here and there that you have in your deck to help with certain matchups. So you might need a Choice Band, you might need a Fighting Fury Belt, you might need a Heavy Ball, you might need an Energy Recycler, you might need a Guzma, a couple different things each turn here and there to promote efficiency and to have the deck run in the best way possible, and you have to have the best way to facilitate that. For Tapu Bulu, and this is probably the biggest point of controversy, for Tapu Bulu, Skyla is hands down the best supporter for the deck. Now, some people will play Tapu Bulu and say, Guy, step-by-step Pokemon, internet, I don't agree with that. I think Sycamore is the best way, and look at me, I did well at a tournament with it. Well, I think you're going to see where I conclude with the Tapu Bulu controversy in a minute. But for me, this is my approach to the best way to play Tapu Bulu. Now, why should you care about my approach to the best way to play it? Well, I don't get to go to a ton of tournaments like I used to back in the day, so I try to be fairly serious when I head to tournaments now, and I've taken Tapu Bulu to every tournament that I've played in since Nationals, which is only 3. I took it to a League Challenge and 2 League Cups, but I won the League Challenge and topped both of the League Cups, going 10-3 with the deck. So I've done really well with the deck so far, and I've played it from a heavy Skyla, low Sycamore point of view. Now, the list you're looking at now has 3 Sycamore in it, but I haven't always played 3 Sycamores. I normally play 2. I also normally played 2 Tapu Lele before rotation, but I did put 3 in there after rotation. So anyways, I say that only so I can emphasize that the perspective that I'm giving you on the deck does come from a little bit of experience. So anyways, Skyla is, in my opinion, the best way to run the deck because it lets you get any trainer card that you need and put it into your hand. Now, consider that you've got 3 Grubbin, you've got 2 Heavy Ball, you've got 3 Tapu Bulus, you've got 3 Vikavolt, you've even got a Charjabug, you've got 3 Tapu Leles, 3 Skylas, you've got a Bridget and a fan club. You've got so many ways to get Pokemon in play and to access the supporter or the Skyla or the candy or the whatever it is that you need. Maybe you need to Skyla for Heavy Ball, I don't know, but whatever it is that you need, you got so many ways to access Skyla in this deck. Skyla getting you the one card that you need here and there throughout the game is a big deal, and a lot of times it's what makes or breaks the deck. If you can change your mindset from N or Sycamore every turn to Skyla, maybe I'm not even going to play as a supporter this turn. I don't need to play my Tapu Lele just because I have it. I don't need to play my Sycamore when skylaying for one card is a better option. If you can grasp that mindset first, you can be a successful Tapu Bulu player. So many people who have found success with the deck still include 3, even 4 counts of Sycamore. I definitely understand, especially post-rotation, with VS Seeker being gone, which, by the way, insert footnote here, the biggest controversy about Tapu Bulu is already gone and passed through the rotation. Whether or not you should include VS Seeker was the biggest, hands down, biggest controversy regarding this deck. And of course the list, and that list was inspired by John Roberts II, who's a fantastic Pokemon player. He did it extremely well with the deck at Nationals, and he was the first proponent of no VS Seeker because it's a dead card in the deck, which, in my opinion, he's right. It is. So, anyways, that was the first of the Tapu Bulu controversies. I don't know if my hand, I'm doing this, I'm saying footnote, and I'm putting it here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it is here. If you can't see my hands, just imagine a footnote off to the side somewhere. So anyways, that was the first major controversy with the deck. So as I was saying, if you can get yourself in the mindset where you can focus on your Skyla, your reduced supporter count, which, as I was saying, is one of the main controversies now. People want to play 4 Sycamore, 3 or 4 N, and then maybe just throw a couple Skyla in there just because, you know, I've heard it's a good card in there. We don't need 3. We don't need, I don't know, we can reduce the fan club out. We just play 1 Bridget. We don't need 2 heavy balls. I can find other ways to increase the efficiency of this deck. So that's the way people will approach it right now. I don't think it's the best way to approach it because you can't. Well, this deck requires resource conservation. You can't just waste your resources. Like I said earlier, the very first thing that you need to do in your mindset when you're playing this deck is understand that you're not going to be burning through the deck and be okay with not playing supporters or just playing a Skyla for most of your turns. The second thing that's required to be successful with this deck is to really be a master of resource management. At the moment, I have 2 energy recyclers in the deck. Normally, I just play 1. That sounds crazy. I can feel the controversy coming at me. Tapu Bulu requires you, if you would like to do 180 damage, to discard all energy attached to it. How can you possibly do that consistently with only 1 energy recycler? I did for 2 tournaments and won one of them and got top 8 at the other one, so you tell me. The point is, if you can manage your resources properly with the deck, you can be very successful and find areas like this with energy recycler to cut back and to be able to fit other cards that are necessary. Now, I have 2 energy recycler in at the moment because I feel like it's a more important card to have with Metagross and Gardevoir getting more popular, which is going to require you to potentially need more energies. So I definitely am a fan of having 2 energy recycler at the moment, although that could change as I test out more matchups, you know, whenever I find the time to do that. So yeah, that's the first thing, is really the reduction in Sycamore. And I play 3 right now, but I might switch back to 2. The reduction in Sycamore is due to the the necessity of the deck for the player to be a master of resource conservation. And Sycamore frequently just burns too many resources. So that's the first current controversy. Do you play 4 Sycamore? Do you play 3 Skyla? Do you play 2 Sycamore? What do you do with your Sycamores? Right now I'm in the middle of 3, but I'm going to test it with 2 and probably increase my Fighting Fury belt, which if you're new to the controversy, that probably sounds so weird to hear. Like, oh, I'm probably going to test minus Sycamore plus Fighting Fury belt. That probably sounds strange, but that's really kind of the essence of the deck and the essence of the controversy. And the problem with the controversy is that people from both sides of the viewpoint find success with the deck. Some people play 4 Sycamore, 4N in Top Cut or win a tournament. Some people play 2 Sycamore, 2N, 3 Skyla, 2 Heavy Balls in Top Cut or win the tournament. Maybe it's play style. I mean, the deck is really, really good, so I don't know. There's something to be said for the perspective of multiple people who have had success. So I mentioned fighting Fury Belt at the end of the Sycamore / conservation mindset controversy. Fighting Fury Belt is probably the second most pertinent controversy regarding the deck right now. Should you run 2? Should you run 3? Should you run 4? I mean, it's a very, 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 very essential card to the deck. And I will say, in the tournament where I got top 8 the first time that I played this deck at a League Cup, I ran 1 Fighting Fury Belt. It was not enough. Had I had multiple Fighting Fury Belts, I would have increased my odds of winning the Gardevoir matchup. I'll explain more on that in a minute. The second League Cup that I took it to, I didn't play any Fighting Fury Belts. I was more focused on one-shotting Gardevoir with a card that I don't play in the list anymore, 1 Kukui. I thought 1 Kukui plus a band, plus discarding all the energies to get that surprising one-shot on a Gardevoir would be relevant. And I didn't face Gardevoir all day. The Fighting Fury Belts probably would have helped me, but I did lose in top 8 to 3 Metagross on turn 3 in back-to-back games, which, no matter what you do, is going to be an uphill battle. My opponent played extremely well, too. So I say all that to say Fighting Fury Belt is important, basically, for 3 matchups. Well, it's important for every matchup, but you focus on it in 3 matchups. First, you focus on it in the Gardevoir matchup because the best way to not get one shot by Gardevoir or to force your opponent to overcommit is to put a Fighting Fury Belt on Tapu Bulu and 1 Grass Energy and hit for 40 damage. That sounds kind of crazy, right? So, but if you think about it, your Tapu Bulu then has 220 HP with 1 energy. So Gardevoir is going to need, 7 energies to knock you out? Or 6 and a choice band? That's a lot. Wait, time out. Let's think math real quick. 7 times 3 is 210. So 7, plus your energy would be 8. So 240. So that would get the knockout. Yes, okay. So 7 energies on Gardevoir, 1 energy on your Tapu Bulu, then they get the knockout. Or 6 energies on their Gardevoir, a choice band on their Gardevoir, which not every list plays, and they get the knockout. Or 5 energies on the Gardevoir, 1 energy on your Tapu Bulu, and a Field Blower, and they get the knockout. Now, that's important too, because even if they were to get the Field Blower, they're going to have to do some sort of movement that's going to force them to use some of their resources just to get a Field Blower, which they may or may not get. Currently, most Gardevoir lists run 2 Field Blowers. If you're running 3 Fighting Fury Belt, you're going to outlast the Field Blower at some point. So, as I was saying, you attach a Fighting Fury Belt to your Tapu Bulu, you hit for 40 damage. Either they overcommit and then you respond and get the knockout on the Gardevoir that has 40 damage on it already. So you knock it out with Tapu Bulu's Nature Judgment attack, doing 120 minus discard all your energies. You're going to do 60 damage because you'll be able to. If you're conserving your energies right, if you're playing the deck right, you'll be able to respond to Gardevoir with a brand new Tapu Bulu even after a knockout. So you'll be able to take the knockout. That's 180. 180 plus 40 falls 10 damage short. You'll be able to have the band or one of your other Fighting Fury Belts. Like I said, if you're playing the deck right, you really shouldn't ever be missing the resources that you need. Sounds crazy, but it's true. So that is going to be the first approach to Gardevoir, and why Fighting Fury Belt is important. Hit for 40. If they don't knock you out, next turn you hit for 190 because your Nature's Judgment plus the Fighting Fury Belt equals 190. Discard all your energies, and you get the knockout on the Gardevoir. Plus you have no energies on you at that point too. So that's crucial because it requires them to do more damage to you to be able to get the knockout. If they do get the knockout, it's because they have anywhere between 5 and 7 energies on their Gardevoir, and that gives you a really good opportunity to respond with a knockout with another Tapu Bulu and just completely wipe the board of energies. Fighting Fury Belt forces those situations. If you don't have Fighting Fury Belt in the deck, it's going to be a lot easier for Gardevoir to take those knockouts. Also, in the Gardevoir matchup, another key concept is to use Tapu Koko and Flying Flip to everything on the field, and then at that point, all you have to do is attach a Choice Band to Tapu Bulu, discard all your energies, and you're hitting for 210. 210 plus Flying Flip 20 is 230. You're knocking out all the Gardevoirs. In theory, that is great, but most good Gardevoir decks at the moment are running one copy of Mr. Mime, which throws that Tapu Koko strategy completely out the window. So, I, if you can't tell, am a proponent of fighting Furry Belt, and I think I need more than 2 in the list. I think I need 3. Matter of fact, we're going to make this change right now, and I think we'll cut the Sycamore. I think we can cut the Sycamore down to 2. So we're going to play it like this for our match that we do in just a minute. But before we get there, the third controversy at the moment is Brock's Grit. As you can see, I don't play it here. It makes complete and logical sense to put it in the deck because it gives you a combination of like 5 or 6 Pokemon from and energy from the discard pile shuffled back into your deck. Basic energy, I mean. So Brock's Grit is a big deal. I believe it gives you 6. This is sad. I have no idea. Because I don't. I think it's 6. Can I hit the right button? Let's look up old Rockaroni and cheese. There we go. Yeah, 6. Put 6 in any combination of Pokemon and basic energies from your discard pile into your deck. So you can recover your Vikavolt, your Tapu Bulu, as well as your energies. I'm not a huge fan of it because A, VS Seeker is gone. Not that I would have played VS Seeker in here in the first place, but I'm going to use a supporter and take that supporter for my turn. I'd like to be able to access it later in the game. I also don't like the concept of being tempted to use my Tapu Lele for Brock's Grit when I could just Tapu Lele for Skylar for Energy Recycler if I needed to. The main I guess logical reason for playing Brock's Grit is, oh, well, just Lele for your Brock's Grit and you got your recovery cards. Well, just Lele for your Skylar for your energy recycle and you got your recovery cards. So I would rather have my recovery be item based than supporter based. That way I can set myself up for success by saying, okay, in a couple turns I'm gonna need to be able to use my energy recycle. So this turn I'm gonna get the energy recycler. I'm gonna play Skylar, get the energy recycler, put it into my hand, discard my energies at the end of my turn. Next turn, I'm going to play the energy recycler and then use Tapu Lele or whatever, Skyla for Rare Candy or Heavy Ball or maybe even N or Sycamore, and then kind of progress my board state based on that. I don't want to say, oh, I just discarded all my energies and now I'm going to have to use Brock's Grit for my turn. That is just my personal opinion. I have a good friend of mine named Alex who won a League Cup with this deck, and he runs Brock's Grit. Again, it's kind of just your playstyle, your preference. You might see a reoccurring theme here at this point. Number 4, as far as controversies are concerned, kind of goes, it kind of centers around personal preference even more. There have been some very, very interesting cards that are less popular than the first 3 controversies that I listed, the Sycamore, the Fighting Fairy Belt, the Brock's Grit controversies. The first of those is Tapu Koko GX. Tapu Koko GX lets you swoop into play out of nowhere with the ability Arrow Tail. When you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench during your turn, you can remove any number of energy, lightning energy, from your other Pokemon and attach it to this one. So there's an easy way to power up Tapu Thunder GX. And then it does 50 damage times the amount of energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon. This is good for a couple of reasons. Basically, this is a other way to handle the Gardevoir matchup. Okay, they just put 5 energies, 4 energies, whatever, on their Gardevoir to one-shot your Tapu Bulu. I'm just going to swoop in with my Tapu Koko, put 3 energies on it, Tapu Thunder for 200 damage. I've got a Choice Band, so I'll put that on there too and hit for 230 and get the knockout on the Gardevoir. Great! Except Gardevoir only needs 3 energies to get the return KO, or 2 energies and a Choice Band if you're playing Choice Band, which, like I said, a lot of Gardevoirs don't do that, to get the return KO. So I don't, it's tempting, like it's super tempting. In an ideal world, if I could never start with Tapu Koko, I would consider it as a game closer. I wouldn't use it early game, I wouldn't use it late game, I would use it for the last knockout of the game. I would never want to say, hey, I'll take 2 prizes, then you can take 2 prizes, and I'll be losing 3 energies in the process, unless it just significantly swung the game. I preferably would want this to be a game closing card. So if I could guarantee to never start with it, to never open the game with it, I might consider it. But I feel like the risk that you impose on yourself by by having the potential of starting with it just doesn't outweigh the benefit of what the card can actually do for you. Now, that being said, people have won tournaments with Tapu Koko GX in their list. People have won tournaments without Tapu Koko GX in their list. It basically is the same thing as starting with Tapu Lele. It just hurts, like right here, you know? Except Tapu Lele kind of hurts a little bit more, because it's like, that could have been a Bridget, but now it's not. Another card that I have seen spring up recently, and I apologize, I don't know the names of all the players that have been playing these cards, but I have seen 2 cards on your screen in decks recently. I have, or at least suggested. I have seen Mew suggested. Basically, Mew copies basic Pokemon attacks. It copies your opponent's attack, just on the off chance that something uses colorless energies or grass or lightning energies. And of course, it copies Tapu Bulu. So it's a 1-prize Tapu Bulu. It's not a bad idea. People have done well with this card in their deck. People have done poorly with this card in their deck. You see where I'm going? Alright, so another card that I have seen is Mewtwo. Mewtwo does 20 plus 20 for each energy attached to the opponent's active Pokemon. It's just an easy way for you to power up a 1-prize attacker in a couple different matchups that it might benefit. So, I mean, it's not a bad idea. If the opponent has 3 energies on them and you have your choice band, then you can hit for 110 damage. So, great. Another idea that I've seen. I have also seen people playing, let's get over here to the trainers. And this one's an interesting one, and I feel like it's more of a Metagross and Gardevoir counter. I've seen Max Potion in the list recently too. Max Potion has been in there basically like, consider this. Metagross isn't normally going to one-shot you if you play Fighting Fury Belt unless they have access to their Field Blower turn after turn and their Choice Band. So if you survive the Metagross hit, you Max Potion all the energies. Your GX attack heals you anyway. So it's a bit redundant, but it can definitely help. In situations where they don't get the energies to be able to overcommit on the Gardevoir, Max Potion can help, because you're going to be hitting for you hit for the 180, then in your turn you heal yourself, then attach your energy, accelerate energies onto your Tapu Bulu, and then you're good to go. So that's another one. Another one that people have been playing and that I tried out was Kukui. I like it in concept a lot. It's sort of a consistency card because it lets you draw 2 cards. So people feel good about consistency cards, so people like throwing it in there. And like I mentioned earlier, Tapu Bulu discarding the energies plus a Choice Band plus a Kukui gets a 1-shot on Gardevoir. It's nice, but it's not always easy to access whenever you need it in the Gardevoir matchup. When you get it, it's great. When you don't get it, you're still on your normal game plan. And honestly, I feel like the game plan that I mentioned earlier of either forcing them to overcommit energies onto their Gardevoir or just taking a steady 2-turn KO, either by setting up knockouts with Tapu Koko using Flying Flip or with Tapu Bulu hitting for 40 damage with a belt and then 190 damage with a belt on the next turn, is really the best way to handle the Gardevoir matchup right now. If that changes, maybe consider Kukui, but right now I don't think I would want to have Kukui in the list, although it is a good card. And then finally, I do remember where this concept initiated from. Some people have suggested running Turtonator in here, and this one, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, started on the Omnipoke channel. So it's a really good idea, and it's an attempt to handle the Metagross matchup. The Metagross matchup is hard. If you add Turtonator in, the Metagross matchup is still pretty difficult. In theory, and in a couple testing games, it's not terrible. The concept is, if you have, let's just say you have the Choice Band, that's going to do 100 damage to Metagross. Doesn't really matter when you use Shell Trap. Doesn't really matter because they're probably going to heal it off. It's easy to accelerate the 2 energies to your Turtonator, but then if they attack into your Turtonator, they're going to get 8 damage counters put on them. Well, they have 250 HP. 250 HP minus 8 damage counters is 170 HP. So they will have 170 HP left coming into your turn, and then you should be able to knock them out with your Tapu Bulu on the next turn. It's a really good concept. It's a really good thought. I just, I don't know. I have found that it doesn't necessarily. I don't know if it provides as much of a boost in the Metagross matchup for it to warrant the way that it could potentially affect all the other matchups that you have that you could possibly face. I also faced a Metagross that was running the baby Ninetales, which kind of negated the Turtonator and let the Turtonator get one shot, because I played against a Metagross that was running your normal. It was like, oh, it's Metagross, yay! But it also had one Psychic Energy for the Tapu Lele and one Water Energy for the baby Ninetales. Yeah, that one kind of put a hurt on Turtonator. Granted, you're not going to see that everywhere. Turtonator in concept, like I said, kind of works. But, I mean, at some point, Turtonator is going to go down, and then you're going to be back to struggling taking the knockouts against Metagross. In an ideal world, if you can take 2 really quick prizes with Tapu Bulu, take a knockout with a Turtonator strategy, and then play Guzma to knock out like a Lele, if you could do that every game against Metagross, and then not draw the Turtonator in situations you don't want it in other matchups, I think it's worth inclusion. The problem is, it's kind of like Tapu Koko GX. Sometimes you're going to start with it. It's got 3 retreat costs. You're going to have to be skylaying for your switch cards, or Leleing for your Guzma earlier than you want to, and the deck's focus is going to be resource conservation. So Turtonator, although it's good in theory, pretty good in practice, and it does help with one of the tough matchups, I just don't know if that's enough boost to where your consistency isn't disrupted in other matchups, and where you can even consistently perform it every single time in the Metagross matchups. Some people can. Some people have done really well with a copy of Turtonator in their list. I personally, and hence back to the Tapu Bulu controversy theory, don't think it's the best card in here. I think it's basically, if you could play a 61 or 62 card deck in some alternate Pokemon reality, Turtonator I think would be right there, that 61st or 62nd card. But I think at the moment I just don't think it warrants inclusion, simply because there are other ways to handle the bad matchups. So one of the ways to handle, because we're talking about bad matchups now, one of the ways to handle Metagross is with Vikavolt. This does require very careful planning. Basically what you want to do is you want to swing into Metagross with something that can't easily die, like Tapu Koko with a Fighting Fury Belt. Tapu Koko with a Fighting Fury Belt has 150 HP. Metagross is going to hit you for 150 HP, and then your resistance is going to make it 130, so you survive. Electric Ball does 100 damage. Well, and if you have the Fighting Fury Belt, 110. Great. At that point, you want to retreat for free, attack with Vikavolt and do Electro Cannon. That'll get you a 2-shot. Granted, it kind of depends on them to not have the max potion, / it requires you to have more energy recovery and long distance or stayability than their max potions have, which isn't the easiest thing to do. But Vikavolt doesn't get one shot by Metagross. Tapu Koko with a ban doesn't get one shot by Metagross. Tapu Bulu with a ban doesn't get one shot by Metagross. It's handleable if you manage your resources properly. Again, it just comes down to resource management. So that's basically the main way to handle the Metagross matchup. You also can attempt, although it's not always easy, to flying flip multiple times to get the HP of Metagross reduced to 210. If you can flying flip twice, survive the field blower, survive the attack from Metagross, and flying flip 2 times, you can set yourself up for success to get the 1-shot if you want to discard all your energy 3 turns in a row against Metagross. Again, you need a little bit of recovery, which is why I have bumped up to 2 energy recycler, and why some people even play a 3rd recovery card in Brock's grid. So I definitely do understand the emphasis on recovery. So don't even get me started on the Solgaleo matchup. That one just is it's pretty bad, because the concept of your matchup against Metagross hinges on Metagross not being able to one-shot you. A Metagross that throws in a 1-0-1 or a 1-1-1 Solgaleo, like I saw a friend of mine, Jeremiah, who does Seagrove Seapoke. I saw a list that he posted where he ran like a 101 Solgaleo in his Metagross. So if you get that up and running against Tapu Bulu, I mean, you've already got a good matchup against Tapu Bulu with Metagross, but like you have cemented your matchup against Tapu Bulu. And if you were to play just plain Solgaleo versus Tapu Bulu, Solgaleo, if it sets up, should win the vast majority of the times, simply because nothing survives Solgaleo in your deck. I mean, they're hitting for 230 damage every single turn, roughly. So that's kind of one matchup that you just, it's almost an auto loss, basically. Solgaleo is not a bad deck, by the way. Consider it. Check out Seagrove Seapoke for more info on that one. It's a really good deck. So yeah, that is in essence the information behind the Tapu Bulu controversy. If you didn't know that there was controversy behind Tapu Bulu, you're probably like, what the heck? But I've seen some heated arguments on Facebook in Burbank City from really good players on both sides discussing the way that Tapu Bulu should be played. It's been pretty crazy, kind of intense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to show you just one game, because it's pretty late here at the moment. I'm going to attempt to show you one game of Tapu Bulu with my current build. Oh, and just a couple of things about my current build. Basically, it just focuses on threes. We've got 3 Tapu Leles, 3 Skyla, 3 N, had 3 Sycamore, but we're going to change that to try 3 Fighting Fury Belt, 3 Guzma. We've got a Fan Club and a Bridget and 2 Heavy Ball, 4 Ultra Ball plus 3 Leles, because we really want to be able to get set up as quickly as possible. 4 Candy and 3 Skyla allow you to get your Vikavolts quickly on turn 2. Basically, if you count the Heavy Ball and the Ultra Ball, that's 6 trainers that allow you to get your Vikavolt. You count your 3 Vikavolts, that's 9 cards that let you get Vikavolt. You count your 3 Skylas as cards that can let you access your Master Ball, your Heavy Ball, or your Ultra Ball, and that becomes 12 cards that allow you to get a Vikavolt. Tapu Lele for Skyla, that ends up becoming 15 cards that let you access your Vikavolt. So you should be able to get your Vikavolt out on turn 2 pretty consistently. There have been games where I've gotten 2 Vikavolts out on turn 2, which is pretty sweet. So yeah, from there you just pick off the things you need to pick off with Guzma. You energy recycler when it is the right time. You use your tool cards effectively, and if Garbodor was bigger than it is right now, I would certainly add in a 3rd Field Blower. So I'd probably cut a switch for that. So anyways, this is where the deck sits right now for me in my own personal view, and we will go ahead and get into a match here. Ooh, free mana fee. Alright, here we go. And I said I'm just doing one match, but if it's like a quick 2-minute match, I'll do another one. Psychic Lightning colorless. With a Worlds box. Interesting. Oh, finally, I get to go second on my channel? Yes, this never happens. Wow, that is a poor hand. Thankfully, we mulliganed. I normally don't see hands that terrible with this. If I had a basic, though, I mean, I'd Ultra Ball for Lele for Bridget, Skylar for Candy, and there would be my turn 2 Vikavolt, so the hand isn't as terrible as I was pretending it was. Okay, that's not bad. Oh, we've got a mirror match. Right? No, that was my hand. He didn't. Yeah, like I said like a minute ago, it's kind of late here. He didn't, my opponent didn't mulligan. I mulliganed. I'm not playing solitaire. Alright, now we get to see what we're playing against. That's never fun. Town. I wonder if this is like a Tapu Koko, Garbodor spread, Necrozma, Espeon devolve kind of thing. That's what I would be leaning towards. Especially with the Psychic energies coming down. A lot of times you see Psychic on the description before the match, and it's like, well, it's the Tapu Lele. It's like, you know, what else is in the deck? So we will find out. Oh, it's jump a Garbodor with Tapu Koko. Maybe there'll be a Necrozma, maybe an Espeon. Okay. Okay. I'm going to Ultra Ball away Choice Band and Guzma. I'm okay with Ultra Balling away Choice Band because if I discard the energies, I'm going to hit for 180 damage and knock out anything on his field anyway. I'm okay with discarding the Guzma because at this point, I'm going to see what's in my deck, but I'm probably going to get a Lele. Okay, cool. We're going to get Lele. We're going to Wonder Tag. And we're going to get Fan Club, which might look strange, but look at my hand. It's not the best. I'm going to Fan Club for Grubbin, and I'm going to grab Lele. I'm going to play the Grubbin and hold the Lele. You don't get to do that with Bridget. Fan Club's not bad. There's no reason for me to play my Fighting Fury Belt this turn. He could just Field Blower it off. Yeah, he might end me and I might lose it, but there's really no reason for me to play it. I also was okay with getting rid of my Guzma on that Ultra Ball because if for whatever reason I need a Guzma next turn, I can get it with Lele. If I need a Skyla for Candy, I can get that. Whatever I need next turn, I basically can get it. So let's see what happens now. And of course, getting an energy on turn 1 would have been nice. There's the old Trashalance. That's going to activate Drompa's Berserk. Berserk does 80 plus 70 if you have a Pokemon on your bench with damage counters on them. We saw an Enhanced Hammer get tossed. Here comes Garbotoxin. Might he as well have the... There's the Floatstone. And Energy Drive hitting for 40. An Energy next turn and he's got the knockout with Drampa, right? Okay. There's a couple things here that I would like to do, but pretty much only one that we're going to do. I wish I could Guzma and knock out the Drampa, but I can't. So I'm gonna have to Field Blower away these things. I held the Field Blower last turn, just on the off chance of a turn 2 Garbodor. Now I'll use a bunch of abilities. We'll go get Skyla for Candy. And it looks like it's like, oh man, your hand's not gonna be that good. It's honestly, this is how the deck plays. You just have to be comfortable with it. Alright. So let's get Candy. Candy, the little Guabin. Touch an Energy. Touch a Fighting Fury Belt. I do not wish that I had, basically I'm back at 180 HP. An Energy and he gets the knockout. Well, he needs an Energy and a, Blower or an Energy and a Band to get the knockout next turn. So I'm pretty happy about that. I think that's not terrible. A Strong Charge up here to Bulu. Had I had the band, I would be able to use Tapu Wilderness to get the knockout this turn. Regardless, at the end of this turn, I would have been at 180 damage, whether I had the band or the belt. So, the hope is that eventually I can just heal myself off anyway. But regardless, I still think that belt is the right play in this situation. Plus, I get to save my GX attack for later. Yes, I would like to discard my energy. Turn 2, 190 damage is very, very consistent with this deck. Hey, look! That's not terrible. There's things that we can do with that. Are they good things? Who knows? He probably has the energy for a supporter in hand. Oh, we're big wheeling. Okay. Big wheel's so good. I wish I could heal myself this turn. But I can't. Now I could just hit for 40 damage with Horn Attack. We got 3 energies in the discard. Recycler nets... Whoa, don't play it. Recycler nets 5. I'm not quite ready to do that yet. He did attach... Okay. He did attach the float stone. I missed that. So there's no abilities. Let's get a... Let's get another... Bulu or Charge-a-Bug. Another Bulu. This is a bit of a tough spot. There's no reason to play the Recycler yet. There's really no reason to attach the Lightning Energy. I wish it was a Grass Energy. I'm gonna put it on Lele for now, just to be safe, and then we'll pass. So he will still need that card right there to get the knockout. We've played 5 items. So Garbodor hits for 100 damage. At this point, I'm gonna go ahead and just give him Grubbin. Not super keen on giving up another knockout. There's a Tapu Koko. Okay. We'll just pass. This is, I have played, gosh, I just don't even know how many matches I've played with this deck. This is the 2nd time I've dead drawn with this, from tournaments, online play, all sorts of things. And of course, this hasn't been very popular recently, so I haven't played against that much. It's not necessarily that I'm dead drawing, it's that I can't use my abilities. If I could use my abilities right now, I mean, I would be taking knockouts on Drampa, right? So, yeah, that's really the biggest issue here. So, I don't see any reason to put another Bulu down. I hate to give up a Koko. I don't have much option. We're just kind of gonna patiently wait here. He'll probably get... Yeah, that should solidify things. That should solidify the game there. We're gonna need some sort of miraculous comeback here to pull this one out. I mean, where do you even... Drampa doing work. I guess you have to put it here. And honestly, I mean, a Guzman, he wins. So we'll do one more match if this ends this turn. Even if it doesn't, we'll do one more match. I think that's game. Yeah, with a fully loaded Drampa on the bench, that's basically game. I don't see any way around this. Yeah, there's no way around it. Alright, so as I said in the analysis section, MVP of the loss. As I said in the analysis section, if Garbodor was more popular in my local meta, I'd have 3 Field Blower in this list. I don't know if it would have really drastically changed things in that matchup, but I definitely feel like Garbodor is a matchup that can be pretty difficult if you don't have access to the cards that you need at the time that you need them. This will be potentially interesting. I'm not sure what runs Fire and Colorless. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe an Oranguru and a Ho-Oh deck, or maybe just like a oh yeah, Oranguru. I wasn't thinking about Oranguru. Oranguru and Volcanion. That makes sense. Okay. I think it's Volcanion because of the Max Elixir. Maybe it's Ho-Oh. I don't take mulligans on here. Okay. We know it at least plays Ho-Oh, whether it is the Ho-Oh focused version of Volcanion or just a Volcanion with a random Ho-Oh in it. Well, that's always a good start to the game there. Ooh. Huh. I think it's pretty rare to prize both heavy balls. Okay. Well, we can Ultra Ball. Next turn. Next turn, I'm going to Ultra Ball, discarding the Lightning Energy and whatever I draw to get a Vikavolt, and then Tapu Lele for Skylight for Candy. And with a Fighting Fury Belt, I'm hopefully going to survive this Phoenix burn. A Guzma here would be interesting. I didn't consider that. This is an interesting play. In many ways. I think it forces me to go in another direction now, for sure. Suppose he didn't have the cards necessary for a knockout on Bulu, but he had a Lele, so I don't know. Maybe there was no Field Blower? I don't know. Well, no, he would have needed to switch anyway, so yeah, that makes sense. But he could have attached the energy, retreated, and then Field Blowered and gotten the knockout. Yeah, that would have worked. I don't know. Who knows? So at this point, I can just attach an energy here. I guess I have to use my Lele. I don't want to. I really really like to get. I'm gonna. If he has another Guzma, I'm gonna be hurt. I don't think he does though, because he wouldn't have had to have Lele'd for it. If he top decks it or draws it off the prize, that's gonna be bad. But that's just the odd. That's just the odds we'll take. Whatever. I'm taking Fan Club this turn, so I can Fan Club. Saw it last game. I'm getting Grubbin. Hey, we've only got one Grubbin anyway. So what would the point have been of getting Bridget for Grubbin and then just a bunch of nonsense? We're gonna put Grubbin down. Next turn we can Ultra Ball, and whatever for Beako Volt, Lele for Skylar for Candy. Hopefully it'll work. Horde attack for 40. Take that, you bird. All right. So remember, Ho-Oh can't attack with Phoenix Burn this turn. Switch. You can switch and retreat though. You can band. Really, you need the fighting. You need the Field Blower. There's even a choice band on Ho-Oh does 210, and I have 220 HP. So you have to get the Field Blower. He's just gonna Energy Drive. Good play. Interesting play. Okay. Well, we will certainly Ultra Ball. Getting rid of an Ultra Ball. We're gonna keep Lele because we're gonna Lele for Candy. I think what we're gonna do. I think I'm gonna get rid of the Guzma. I don't really want to. I'm gonna take 2 prizes this turn. I don't want to get rid of the Guzma. I'm not gonna get rid of the Guzma. I'm gonna get rid of the N. Let's get Beako Volt. Let's Tapu Lele. Grab a Candy. Oh, duh, we're gonna grab a Skyla. Then we're gonna grab a Candy. It is later than I am going to admit right now, so. Skylar. There we go. That's how you do it. Candy on up. Now, if I Strong Charge, Grass Energy. Oh, Grass Energy here. The Lightning Energy here. Next turn, if I Strong Charge 2 to Tapu Lele, that puts 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm doing 140 damage from Tapu Lele. So depending on what I can do, it might be interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna just go ahead and Nature's Judgment and get the knockout. It might be interesting to see